Welcome back to NATEFLIX on the radio. Now, this week, just to be different, we're going to do some topical news, some all kinds of movie and TV related news. First up on the list, now, for those of you that don't know, there's going to be a sequel to the action movie The Expendables.
Yes.
Of course there is.
Yeah. Expendables.
It was directed by Sylvester Stallone. He gathered up every action hero you can think of for this movie. It was a rated R, very gritty, bloody, just like Sylvester Stallone is known for, especially for his Rambo films.
Right. He's always been known for violent movies.
This movie was kind of an off and on. Like wasn't it kind of some people hated it, or you got to either hate it or love it kind of situation?
I don't understand people that hate the Expendables. I really don't.
Well, the best way to explain it is that this is men's version of Twilight. If you look up on Yahoo compiled critics' reviews, it has the exact same rating as Twilight.
The Expendables is like a real life The Avengers. You know, it's this super team, this who's who of action notables. And there were a few action notables that they couldn't get for the first one, and they tried to rectify that apparently with Expendables 2. They're bringing in more and more action names.
Now, some of the actors returning for the sequel are, of course, Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, and of course, he's bringing on the people who did cameos in the original film. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis will have bigger parts. Newcomers are Jean-Claude Van Damme and Chuck Norris.
I'm excited to see Arnold Schwarzenegger actually get some action in now that he's not the Governor anymore. So that'll be interesting to see. Chuck Norris, he's in this. I was pretty excited about that until very recently.
Yeah, he hasn't done a action movie in quite a long time. And a lot of fans of the original are a little upset because it was leaked that despite Sylvester Stallone's notorious R-rated filmography, Chuck Norris requested that this film be PG-13. He even threatened that he would leave if they did not aim for a PG-13 rating. Sylvester Stallone confirmed this. They're aiming for a softer Expendables.
But in the same interview, Stallone also said that The Expendables 2 was going to, and I quote, deliver on every level. And, when I thought about it, it is, especially in this day and age where PG-13, a lot of what happens, especially violence-wise in a PG-13 movie, used to that would have warranted an R rating. Movies like Hannah, which seem very dark and they're very violent, they're PG-13. So they can get away with a lot, but you can do a great over-the-top action movie PG-13. That's fine. It doesn't have to be R. Now, part of the reason that I love the first Expendables is for that R rating, because it is a bloodbath. I mean, our hero, Jason Statham, basically the protagonist of the film, he stabs more people to death than Jason Voorhees did in 10 Friday the 13th movies. And I'm not exaggerating.
See, there's a thing about where you're going to have, there's a difference between violence and action. And I think blood is one of the big factors that really gives you the PG-13 and the R rating. So we're definitely going to see a lot less blood in the Expendables sequel. More action, possibly, but definitely I think the bloodbath aspect is something that's probably going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be toned down, but it could still work. Now, just a question to throw out there. Is there anybody that we'd like to see in Expendables 3? It hasn't been the first two.
Since the very beginning, I was always had my fingers crossed for Steven Seagal.
Right.
I'm hoping that he'll be in the next one. I can't wait for him to make his way back into big cinema.
I would like to see The Rock in Expendables 3. Having some one-on-one fights with some of those other action stars.
Well, if you're going to bring in The Rock, I think he's already chosen his side.
The G.I. Joes?
The G.I. Joes and the Fast and the Furious people. What if they combined all three of these films? The Expendables, G.I. Joe, and Fast and the Furious, and all these characters save the world together.
Now, there was the rumor, which I've heard repeated several times on the internet, take it for what it's worth, that Statham had been approached to be, Jason Statham had been approached to be a part of the next 2 Fast and Furious movies, which are going to be filming back to back. And he said to The Rock, well, if I agree to do these movies, will you agree to do Expendables 3? So, and of course, The Rock and Bruce Willis are co-starring in the new G.I. Joe movie as well.
Wow.
It's a small action world.
They're all going to kind of cross
It's like
over
kind of the
each other.
Judd Apatow world of action.
Yeah.
Like they're all just kind of hanging out with each other on screen.
Right, Judd Apatow with testosterone.
Right, there you go.
I like this. I like that they're just, they can just get so many people to come see this movie just because of the cast.
Right.
In the Harry Potter franchise, you have, it's pretty much the Expendables of British actors playing small roles. And this one, it's in a way the same thing. Liam Hemsworth is also joined the cast. For those of you who don't know who he is the brother of Chris Hemsworth, who played Thor.
So almost Thor will also be in the Expendables too.
Yeah,
that'll look
Thor.
kind of impressive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in other news, George Lucas currently said that he is retiring from film.
Thank God.
George Lucas, if you don't know, was the creator of the Star Wars franchise, which continues to blossom and branch off into other areas. Does this mean that there won't be any more prequels or sequels or spinoffs?
I gotta say, I gotta call BS on this one. I think that many times we've seen filmmakers and actors claim that they're retiring from the industry, and then they'll just get bored and come back because they're gonna just... George Lucas is going to stew in his own mind and then come up with some ridiculous idea he wants to be a part of and then come back into film.
He takes such long breaks in between actual directing jobs anyway. I mean, he executive produces, he does a lot on his ranch, whatever. But he actually directs a film not very often. So he could officially retire or not retire and just not make anything for a few years, which is he was going to do anyway.
So is he still going to involve himself in producing and things like that? I mean, I'm sure he's not just going to, go to Florida and sit on the beach now, but...
Well, he's definitely stated that, even though he's retiring, he will be involved in Indiana Jones 5. Which is funny because in the same interview, he said that he takes complete credit for the Indiana Jones 4 refrigerator scene, where Indiana Jones... to escape a nuclear blast, goes into a refrigerator, which he survives.
Right, he's launched like a mile inside this fridge, and well, first of all, I don't see how he got out of the fridge. Isn't that the whole thing? If you're inside a fridge, can't open it from the inside.
Well, I've been inside a fridge before, and I've actually proven that wrong. I myth-busted that one.
George Lucas claims, and he still holds to this, that many scientists say the odds of surviving that are 50-50, depending on the type of refrigerator. So he holds on to that. Hopefully he won't be doing the same thing.
If that was the only bad part, or even the worst part of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, then I wouldn't have such contempt for it. I mean, it's a terrible movie for a lot of different reasons. There are a lot of different embarrassing scenes, that being one of them. So, I mean... good for him for taking the hit on that, but it doesn't mean too much.
I think that was, that was one of the scenes that was most made fun of and most
yes, it was
criticized.
Most openly mocked and derided.
And I think one of the things before is there was this misconception that was Steven Spielberg's idea, and I think that's the one thing that George Lucas was doing. He's trying to take the heat off Steven Spielberg, and by admitting that he was the one behind the fridge idea. So it kind of still clears Steven Spielberg's name as a good director.
Did he cop to who came up with the ending, or whose idea was it to have them swing on vines?
No, unfortunately, he didn't say anything about that. But he seems like he's just taking a bullet and going down.
Incidentally, if you'd like to watch Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, or any of the Indiana Jones movies, we've got them all at Go Video. Check us out online at govideogainesville.com.
Let's see here. Peter Berg, who is a director I actually like, a lot. He's also an actor, but he's most known for his directing. He did The Rundown, he did The Kingdom, and he also did Hancock, which he is talking now about doing a sequel. This was the superhero movie starring Will Smith, Jason Bateman, and Charlize Theron, which I think was one of the weakest Will Smith movies that he's done in a while. Why are we doing a sequel to this one? Is anyone calling for a sequel for this one?
No, nobody is.
I'll tell you why. It's going to be in 3D.
Well,
there we go again.
I'm also thinking, I don't know which movie studio owns the rights, but maybe whichever movie studio made Hancock is running short on franchises right now of something that they can come up with a ready-made sequel that people will recognize. There's always room for a Big Mac or a Whopper, and that's the bread and butter. Those are the tentpole films. Is you could make some new superhero movie, and maybe people would like it or not, but if you have Hancock 2 starring Will Smith, all of a sudden it's a 4th of July huge release for the summer, and it'll be a big deal.
I think that, and they're still trying to cash in on the fact that Will Smith is going to bring an audience regardless. He's still
absolutely
at
will.
a point where he hasn't really declined at all enough to really lose fans, and if anything, he's probably gaining more. So he's still reaching his peak in as far as popularity goes. So why not? Why not try to cash in on that again with the Hancock sequel? I mean,
but I personally don't want to see it.
Absolutely not.
I actually kind of liked the first half of Hancock, but once it got into the actual plot and the superhero stuff, it was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I would say the first half was pretty good.
If the whole movie would have just stuck with that, it would have been a lot more intriguing.
I completely agree.
I always do like seeing people take a risk, though, at approaching the superhero aspect from a different light. So that was the only thing that kind of intrigued me about it. I think they failed pretty hard, but I like seeing that at least being attempted. There's a new movie coming out soon about it's like a found footage, and this might be a found footage film that I might actually look forward to.
Chronicle.
Yeah, the three kids who all discover some superpowers, and it's kind of them screwing around with the TV camera. So that while they're experimenting, but I think that's something that I'm going to look forward to.
Is J.J. Abrams involved in this? Because it sounds like he is.
I actually don't know at all who's behind it, but I'll have to look into that. We can talk about it next time.
Yes, next week, join us. We'll be discussing, debating, eviscerating, or maybe praising the found footage genre.
I will definitely be hating on it.
One more thing before we go. Lionsgate who is known mostly for the Twilight series, is talking about possibly continuing the franchise after the last movie.
Lionsgate bought Summit Entertainment, and I believe Summit Entertainment was the studio behind Twilight. And now that Lionsgate has a hold of the rights to it, they are proposing that they're going to try to stretch on the franchise as long as possible beyond the book series.
Why not? The way I see it, it can only get better.
Right. Yeah. Maybe if they get somebody else other than Stephanie Meyer to write the source material, it will be better than what we've seen so far.
Yeah. Well, anyway, check out the Twilight franchise at Go Video. We have every single movie available on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yes, and right now, that's the first 3. In about 10 days from now, Breaking Dawn Part 1 is going to be available on DVD and Blu-ray at Go Video. So as always, check us out online, govideogainesville.com. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. And you can find us here again next Sunday morning. See you then.